Hey everyone, Donald J. Brower, GardenStateHSWrestling.com. We are here at St. Joe's Metuchen for the first day of the Garden State Wrestling Boys Prospect Camp. And if you know anything about Jersey wrestling, I'm here with an absolute legend, Coach Damion Hahn. Coach, talk a little bit about this. I obviously, if anybody knows you, your history, three-time state champ, 3 losses in your high school career. As I said, I had 3 losses by the time we came back from winter break, 4-time All-American. You were in your 8th year at the South Dakota State with the Jackrabbits. Excuse me. I knew it was a little rabbit. I don't want to mess it up. But the Jackrabbits. Kind of talk about what you're doing here and giving back to the wrestling community in New Jersey, especially.
Yeah, it's funny. I don't get home much, and this, with coaching and just traveling, all the duties that come with the job, it keeps me away a lot, and it's great. It's great to be back. It's great to be back in my home state and looking at talent, because New Jersey is rich with wrestling, and it's where I got my start. And I'm very passionate about, what we do, what the state produces, and looking at the next crop of kids that are coming through. Had an opportunity to get back here, with this camp and Kyle, and be able to kind of bring a little bit of where I'm at now at South Dakota State, the Midwest, bring it back to, the East Coast, and kind of put ourselves out there, let people, come and learn and develop and build relationships. And so it's been a great experience, thus far. And we're here, the rest of the day and tomorrow. And so it's a great situation. I mean, like when you get to walk into a room and you got 100+ kids that are there because they want to be there. They want to better themselves. And sports are great, right? I mean, sports are the great, the thing that brings people together. But our sport is different. It's very different. It's the greatest sport in this world. In my mind, nobody could ever change that. And when you see young men and women who are devoting that time and effort to this craft, it just puts a smile on your face, because this is near and dear to my heart.
Now, it's funny you mentioned that with talking about all the kids here. You kind of talked to them after the end of your clinic and mentioned to them how much wrestling played an important role in your life. Could you kind of expand on that and kind of say what you said there and let everybody?
Yeah, for me, wrestling is a major part of my life. I would not be in the position that I am if it wasn't for this sport, and my family pushing me and encouraging me to continue to grow. This sport has shaped who I am, honestly, and the lessons that I've learned. And I told the kids today, I said, the life lessons you will learn in this sport that will help you for eternity. And it's how I manage everything. I'm granted, I'm a college wrestling coach, but you talk about how I was raised, how I handle situations, my marriage, how I raise my kids. I mean, this sport has taught me all of that. And I have been fortunate, extremely fortunate, to be able to experience things through this sport, travel the world, build relationships that I don't think would have been possible in any other situation. So I thank them. I thank them for being there today. I thank them for, really investing into themselves to want to be better, not only athletes, but people. And I talked a little bit about, some of the things that I struggled with, that I didn't want them to have to struggle with. And, you talk about, the rigors of college and the academics and, the athletics, the social, like those are all things that young people have to manage these days. And it's not easy, right? But that's life. Life isn't easy. And in my position now, I think it's important to be a mentor, right? To help guide them through this phase of their life and ultimately make them better people.
Now, it's funny you mentioned with coaching, we actually put a poll up and asked some questions of what they would want us to ask today. And one of them was, as a college coach, what are you looking for a prospect? Because obviously, when you're trying to wrestle in college, the talent is there.
Yeah.
So it's not so much talent. What are you looking for as a coach? If somebody said, "Hey, I want to come wrestle for you,"
Right.
what are you looking for that would work for your team?
I mean, obviously the competitions, right? I mean, how you do in your state tournament? How do you wrestle nationally? How do you do nationally? Those things are, first, I don't want to say first and foremost, but those are the glaring things, right? You can go and pull up any of the wrestling publications and see the rankings and say, oh, this guy's ranked #1 in the country. He's got to be pretty good. I'd say first and foremost, academics are a priority. I don't want our kids to lose sight of the education component, right? And especially in the landscape that we're in right now in college athletics, it's out of control. And academics, I feel, has dropped. And it's, I don't want to say going to the wayside, but it's not as big of a priority for some places, where for us, it is. And if you look at, you know, our successful student athletes, they're usually good students. You know, and there are exceptions to the rule, but you got to have a base. You have to have a good foundation. So academics are huge in my mind. And then, you know, you see what they do with their local, their state, their national stuff. But above and beyond that, I want somebody who loves to compete. Like, I can't say that enough, right? I mean, you have guys that are very good wrestlers, very good athletes, but they don't put themselves out there. They wrestle when they want to wrestle. They're very calculated on the things that they do, and to protect something. What do you have to lose, right? I would rather take a kid who's putting himself out there, and he is not afraid. He wants to compete. I mean, he wrestles hard. He does all those things because there's a lot you could work with that. So for me, I love kids that love to compete, and you know what you're going to get. You're going to get it all. You're going to have the work ethic. You'll have the effort that it needs to be successful. And those kids usually thrive in the right types of environments.
It's funny what you said with the academics is the one thing I've heard, especially doing this for 12 years, talking to the top-notch high school programs, it's student athlete. So and I think a lot of kids get into that mode where they just think their talent's going to take them somewhere, and they don't realize there's another half to the job. It's like not being totally prepared for it.
And I'm not ashamed to say it. I mean, that was me, right? I like, and I tell people this all the time. Like, I went to college to wrestle. You know, academics were not a huge priority at that time. And, you know, you learn from your experiences. And my course, you know, of coaching now the last 20 years, again, do as I say, not as I did. Like, I want my kids to be well-rounded individuals, both athletically and academically. You can have success on both. They're not mutually exclusive. So let's get a more well-rounded individual. Let's focus them into their areas that are going to benefit, you know, both academically, athletically, and let's put good people out into this world that are going to make change and help our great sport, because we need that more now than ever. I mean, that's just how it is. And yeah, I'm very passionate about what we do, and I love it. And yeah, academics are a priority.
Now, you've had a very storied career. One of the other questions we got is, what do you consider your greatest accomplishment?
You know, again, I've been fortunate to have success at a lot of different levels of my career, and I would say, you know, coming from Lakewood and, you know, winning a couple state titles, and those were fun, right? Those were a lot of fun. You know, Lakewood wasn't known for a wrestling program, and to be able to do that at a place and bring some notoriety back to the town was a lot of fun. I mean, that's a great accomplishment in my mind. Then you go on to college, and I was able to go to the University of Minnesota, and you know, my freshman year, we won a team title. Never been done before in Minnesota history. And not only did we do it, we did it as a team. We had 10 All-Americans. First time that's ever been done. And we won it in Carver Hawkeye Arena, a place that my head coach at that time, Jay Robinson, you know, left to go to Minnesota to take over that program. So it was like a coming home, and winning it there. That's probably one of my most memorable things. And it's because I did it with my brothers. You know, I did it with my team, and we all contributed, and we came away with a team title. That was an amazing thing that I don't think I could ever replace. Yeah, I had success individually, you know, I won, but that's good for me. But when I did it with my team, that was something that, when we get together and we talk and you reminisce, and it's just like every one of them can contribute to that and have those moments of joy. And we struggled and we battled together. We fought back and we did it. We did it. And so that's probably the most memorable thing in my competitive career. To this, well, that's going to be because I'm not competing anymore. So yeah, that's probably
coming out of retirement.
No. I'll be on breaking a story. No, I'll be honest. The day that I decided, it was 2008, and I finished as the alternate for the Olympic team in 2008. I had a coming to Jesus moment, and it was like, listen, what do I want to do with my career? And I loved what I was doing. I was coaching and training at the same time up at Cornell, and I started to make the transition, and I was getting so much more joy out of coaching than I was competing, and I thought my value needed to be shifted and devote more time to my athletes and less on me. And when I did that, everything changed in my life. Before it was and I think the best athletes in the world, you have to be selfish, right? You got to be selfish and you got to take care of, number one. But when I started to make that transition, I got so much more joy in my life, and I would give it all back, honestly. And people say, yeah, right. No, I would give it all back. Everything that I ever accomplished in this sport, to give it to my student athletes, to have them have success, because I know what it felt like, and I want them to experience it. So, yeah, and that's why I'm doing what I do, man.
Now, you and I are from the similar time. I graduated in 95 and I was freshman 96, so we're the 90s kids. Talk a little bit about not only New Jersey wrestling, but as a whole, where it's exploded. Because Jersey wrestling was always good, but now you're talking about it as being one of the top states in the country. When people talk about it, arguably, just that explosion of being a part of those early days to now where it's so recognized.
Well, I think, hands down, Jersey has had a rich history of wrestling, and it dates back, and so it's always had a great history. As time goes on, technology, right? Technology becomes more readily available to people. These kids now are getting better coaching. They have better training environments. And so when you have a populated state like New Jersey and the history that it has, and now having access to more resources, what do you think would happen, right? It's just going to continue to get better and grow. So, coming back and hearing and following some of the schools that are good now, they were not good when we were in high school, right? They were like the bottom of the barrel. And now it is a complete shift. And it comes down to, the resources that these people have, the state as it is made up, right? There are only 2 states right now that have 1 state champion per weight class, and year in and year out, those 2 states are arguably in the top 5 every single year, producing the best kids. And so when you have those kind of little intricacies, you're going to grow. You're going to grow. You're going to continue to be competitive. You're going to get better. And now, just with the access to more resources, I remember growing up, there was never a college prospect camp, right? That didn't happen, in when I was in high school. We didn't go around to clinics and camps. There was less of it, less availability. And now, when you have a situation like here, and you got, coach coming in from South Dakota State, you got coaches coming in from Navy and Princeton and Rutgers and all over the place. That's awesome. It is awesome. It's only growing our sport. And we have wrestling has the most first generation college kids. We need to continue to push our children, continue to provide them opportunity to better themselves. We all want, as parents, our kids to have a better chance than we did. And this sport, as it continues to grow and continues to become readily available to most people, that's the opportunity for our kids to better themselves.
Coach, I really appreciate the time. Thank you. I enjoyed the clinic, and I'm glad we got to talk to you for.
Yeah, no, absolutely. This is a great time. Love being back. And yeah, it's always fun to catch up.
Now go grab yourself a pork roll or a Taylor ham. Let's over here. Here you go.
Pork roll.
Taylor ham, North Carolina.
Yeah, I know. Session jerk. It's pork roll.
Thank you so much for your time, Coach.
Thank you. Appreciate it.